will be here at 1 p.m. I want to say at 1 p.m. They will be playing the Orioles, the second game of the three-game set, and Griffin Canning will go to the mound for his first start. Last year he was 7-8, and then the Orioles will trot out Grayson Rodriguez. Last year he was 7-4. He's one of their young arms, not young arms, but he's one of them arms in the bullpen that's really, really well. I guess we'll talk about our shows real quick, Chris.
No, you're good.
We're good. Okay, we'll get to
Yeah.
it next show. But that's the Angels and Orioles so far. They had yesterday off for some damn reason. I guess you know what I heard, Chris, about that was like the reason they have Fridays off. Uh, during opening day or after opening day is just in case there's any rainouts, and we saw that in New York
And I think
and
Atlanta Braves and
Philadelphia.
Phillies.
Yeah, in Philadelphia, but somehow the storm, whatever that was, missed Baltimore. It hit Baltimore first, I guess, and went up. So I was kind of worried. Yeah, we weren't gonna have an opening day for the Angels, but it didn't matter anyway. Orioles won, really,
Right.
really bad. So Chris, I saw later on that day, the Rangers played,
Yeah.
and they opened up things. They unveiled their championship banner. I think the
Way up
ring
there.
ceremony is tonight. Oh, yeah, I'll check where it is, but is it out in left field?
It looked
What?
like it was in left field. Yeah.
Yeah, way up there, and probably in the middle. I want to
It
say,
looked
but
like the like where the big monitor is in the middle. I want to
okay.
say, looking at watching it, it's on the left. Like when you're watching it, it's on the right side, so maybe left side.
Well, I can see here that the I did watch definitely of the ending of it. I mean, I've been watching March Madness like crazy, so I've been more into that at least at a certain time slot.
I
Remember that Thursday we had like all those games start around the same time, other from the Ranger game. That was the oddest
it was
thing.
like
They're 5 o'clock here, 7 o'clock there.
yeah, it was like sports apocalypse on
Yeah, right now it is. Just
or
wait,
something.
till the draft for the NFL. But Chris, I saw your team won in extra innings. It was a spirited affair. Man, the place was sold out, I bet, and it was a little controversy. I think in the ninth inning, I saw that Jonah Heim and the umpire was arguing about a foul tip. The ball got away. The Cubs came home and tied it at 3. I think that was in what, the ninth inning? Or no, they got the lead 4-3 or
Yeah,
3-2
I
or
thought it was
whatever it
tied at
was.
four.
3-2.
Yeah,
And then
mm,
somebody hit a home
but
run. I
hey,
think it was
I mean,
Garcia. And then
yeah,
somebody won it. Was it Jonah
Garcia
Heim who won
hit
it
a home
on
run.
it? Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it was Jonah Heim who
yeah,
won that
it was
on the
time in the 11th inning. I want to say that the bottom of the 11th innings.
right. Um and what was funny, I want your rookie to be the rookie of the year, not Evan Carter because that one guy, but I want a Wyatt Langford to be that guy,
Langford.
and he went 1 for 2. Yeah, he's the DH for you guys, and he had a great spring. He hit over like 420, and yeah, he did get his first hit, which is great. Um, so I was watching that intensely whenever he came up because I wanted him to do well, and he got a walk actually before Heim hit the game winner. I was like, damn, I wish he got the game winner. I would have, shoved that toward that one guy's face. But how do you think the atmosphere was there in the ballpark and all that? Seeing that it was the first Ranger championship.
No, the atmosphere looked good. I think they had one of the longest longest season ticket holder fans in attendance. He threw out the first pitch. I cannot remember his name, but like as long as the Rangers were there, he was a season ticket holder. So it was good to see him, throw out the
72,
first pitch. I
73.
believe so, yeah. 72 or 73. There's a lot of people there, big crowd, nationally televised, which is hard to do here in Texas because, with the
Not
Bally
lately
TV
though.
deal. Not
Not
lately,
lately.
but
They've
for
been on
several
more
years.
than often. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's true with the Rangers. More like the Astros would get that attention. Now, like the Rangers are starting to get into that. It's awesome to see. I love whenever they play each other. Like remember last year, out of all the 13 battles they had, um, it was the road team winning the series at the other guy's place, and they had a couple of standoffs. Ended up being in the championship series, I believe, and the Rangers went on to win.
yeah.
It's an intense rivalry, and it is a rivalry, and I love seeing that, Chris.
I do too. And like you said, bottom of the ninth, Rangers got the walk off win. I thought it was going to
Or in
go
the
longer than that. 12,
Mhm.
13 innings, but it seemed like the pitch clock with the new, rule additions or whatever you want to call it, the modifications they put on it, didn't seem to hinder the teams much. Um, but I do kind of see this series going back and forth.
Yeah. I know the new rules, at least this year, I'm sorry, the runners lane is wider for the runner to go to first.
Yeah,
And then of course, the bases are bigger from last year. And I could kind of tell that. It just depends where you're sitting, I think. Like last
right.
year, I was sitting behind home plate, but upstairs for Angel games and Padre games.
Mhm.
Well, no, down the line for the Padre games because it's kind of expensive with all the um, you know big players they have. But um, sitting behind home plate for Angel games is like, yeah, you can kind of tell those look like pillows out there, like they used to be because how big they are. And if you remember, like back then, or if you saw a movie
Mhm.
that portrayed baseball like way back in the day, it was actually like it looked like pillows and
Yeah,
they were like tied down to it. Not how it is now where it's like kind of not drilled in, but there's a little hole in there you can just put the square in. Um
right.
and then also I think and my mom called me for this because she was watching the game, but the new rule about the pitch clock was it's
20
what
to 18 when there's a runner on base.
right, that went down, and it's
Like,
still 15 without a runner.
yeah.
And it's still the batter has to be ready by 7 seconds or whatever it is.
Hmm.
All right, so your team is 1-0, mine's 0-1. Um, obviously you're one of the you're in first. The Angels in third, only because Oakland and Oakland and Houston are 0-2.
I'm kind of
Houston,
glad Houston's 0-2.
they played New York. They've been hosting the Yankees in Houston, and both games are highly spirited. But the Yankees keep getting the upper hand on them with late wins. It looks like. Did you get a chance to see the Yankees have new uniforms on the road, right? Where they went back to like the 30s, 40s, 50s, where they don't have a white outline, so it just spells New
Like the
York.
pinstripe. Hmm.
Yeah, no, pinstripes only at home.
Okay.
Um, but it just says New York on it. And then the whole controversy with the jerseys and how they're see through.
Yeah.
Well, this team doesn't have like the Yankees don't have like collars, sleeve or collar
Okay.
lines or lines here.
Hmm. Hmm.
So excuse me, it's like it's like sweat. You can see the sweat through the see-through jersey,
Ew.
right? You can see everything.
Well, you can tell who's, I guess, working hard and not.
It's all the pictures, like all the pictures you saw from the
Okay.
Yankees.
Right.
And since it's gray and see-through, it looks like they're wearing like nothing. It looks like nothing, like a certain
Mm,
contest that used to be okay to host, and you can't anymore, Chris. I won't say
okay.
what it is here, but
Right. Right.
um, it looks like that. Like it's great for the ladies, but you don't want to like. I don't think we want to
Right.
see that.
No.
But I've noticed that whenever the Yankees get like a big out or something, and pitcher's coming off, and
Like
he's
good.
coming out, and he's happy about it. It's like, dude,
Right.
you can see everything up and down.
Yeah.
It
No.
it just looked bad. Um,
Now
and
I
it
did.
just yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say I did, and I had to keep changing the channel or something because I saw, what is it, Seattle? I think they were facing Boston,
hmm
and Seattle had blue and yellow.
Yesterday, yeah, their
And
City
I'm
Connect uniforms.
okay, and I'm like, am I watching the right team? I don't know if I
They
am,
look
but
like Milwaukee.
yeah, and I'm like, is this the right team I'm watching? I don't know.
You should see the Padres and what their City Connects look like last year and this year.
I thought it was like Boston versus Boston.
Yeah, they get their colors from like the old Seattle Pilots who turned into the Milwaukee Brewers. So it's just funny how all that goes together.
Well,
And
and then
then
they don't they do something for the marathon, the Boston Marathon?
oh, um, no, Boston.
Right,
Uh, they wear like Boston in front of their uniform on Marathon Day,
right, but
but
it's blue and yellow.
their City Connects. That's their city flag. Is that blue and
Okay.
yellow they have? And I think the Phillies are going to do the same thing, the same colors, because that's their state or city flag. And you know that they're just red and white. So I'm not looking forward to that. It's gonna look awful from what I've seen. Somebody leaked out their City Connect jersey.
Oh no.
It looks awful, and you don't even think Phillies like when you see it. Like you don't like the same thing with the Red Sox. You don't see it. You don't see their team
Like
colors.
like I know if like the Eagles, if they won, when they won the Super Bowl, I could see like the Phillies doing like a green and white tribute. I could have saw that happening, but
Now
or
that
did
you say that, there was a game back in 2006, 7, or 8 against the Detroit Lions in Philadelphia,
hmm
and the Eagles wore their 1933 throwbacks, and it was blue and yellow. I remember they only wore it one game, but it's funny you mentioned about Philadelphia. So I could see your team will have the ring ceremony tonight. I like how they spread out the celebration. Usually you do everything in one game. Usually
Yeah.
that's been the case, but I like how they're spreading it out to maybe a weekend. I don't know, but you guys play.
It
Let's
feels like a
see.
weekend.
Yeah,
We play the Cubs. Game 2
at
of 3.
4 o'clock Pacific time,
6 o'clock
6
my
over
time.
there. Probably be a delay with all the ceremonies going on. But Bradford will go for the Rangers. Kyle Hendricks will go for the Cubs. Not Tim Hendricks, but Kyle Hendricks will go. Um, some other games around as I mentioned, the Angels 0-1 will play at 1 o'clock, almost coming up here. The Brewers will get to them as we go into our next segment. Brewers lead the Mets 6-2. Remember, they were delayed on Thursday. It was like 3 games I think rained out. Um, so they lead 6-2. The White Sox lead the Tigers 5-3. And later on, everything else is going on. The Braves and Phillies, who had to play yesterday, they were one of those games rained out. The Braves won that, but they did have some injury woes, and we'll talk about that. Already troublesome things happening for the Braves there. The Guardians and A's are coming up at 1 o'clock. Now, did you see, Chris, what happened Thursday night with them? Now, the A's have lost the first two games, of course. Cleveland has won the first two. But Thursday night, I don't know if you saw this, but they had a kind of a protest the fans did where
I've heard
they
something
didn't
about that.
they didn't buy tickets to go in to the game, but they paid for parking and just barbecued or had tacos and drank whatever. And then they put the game on a big projector somewhere, wherever they were.
Yeah.
But inside, they announced the total, not a capacity, but way under capacity of like 13,000. But it looked like
Because
2,000 because everybody else was inside.
because they're all scattered, right?
That too, yeah, that doesn't help either.
See, that's the thing when they're like, it's 40,000 people, but or whatever the number is, but then they're scattered.
And remember, they tarp off the top level there,
right?
In the outfield, the big outfield seats that were for the Raiders. They tarp all that off, so only 2 levels are available. But yeah, you have everybody kind of scattered out or sections empty.
Mm-hmm.
But I can remember back then they would push everyone together to make it look at least neat. But I guess for the first games they don't.
They should make an announcement where it's like, if you are up and higher up, please move down.
I know they used to do that.
I wouldn't need to be asked. I just, hey, there's no one down here. Let's move down here.
That's what I want to do for.
No one's sitting here.
Some games I want to go to. I want to get the cheapest, whatever ticket. And since Shohei isn't with the Angels anymore, not every seat's going to be full or get full. So I'm going to buy a ticket way up there and move down closer.
And if they say something like, hey, no one's sitting here, I'll move if they are, but
it looks better on TV, if you have like everyone together, at least on the first level. That's how it used to be. Like even when Nolan Ryan, especially Oakland, Miami, Pittsburgh, there's days like that, of course. Even the days when Nolan Ryan was pitching for the Angels, they only had about like 9,000 at Angel games. Like they were bad and nobody cared. But just think of that. Even with Nolan Ryan going, they still didn't draw the Angels. And it feels like they're kind of back at that. They won't have 9,000, but they'll have like 25 or less now without Shohei, it seems. All right, the other games going on, and this one is a doozy. At 1:10, the Reds did win on opening day, but they play the Nationals. They host them. Corbin will go for Washington, but Hunter Green will go for the Reds. That is going to be fun. BB, of course, will go for the Guardians. That'll be fun. Braves and Phillies. Farid will go for the Braves. Austin Nola, fresh off his new contract, will go for the Phillies. Later on, the Jays and Rays, who have split 2 games. They've been high-scoring affairs. Twins and Royals later on. The Pirates, who are 2-0, will be playing Miami. That's kind of a shock there. The Giants and Padres will go. They're both at 500. Remember, the Padres and Dodgers already had 2 games. They split amongst each other in Korea. But that game will probably be rained out because, there's rain everywhere in the forecast here. Yankees and Astros will go. That should be something again. The Rockies and Diamondbacks. I don't know if you saw that score. They had Arizona destroyed Colorado. I think 6, something like that. The Cardinals, Dodgers at 6:00, and then the Red Sox and Mariners at 6:40 Pacific time. Yeah, let's see that because I didn't watch that game, but I heard about it. There were 2 games rained out. I should say that Thursday, 16-1, Arizona defeated Colorado. I mean, that was no contest between those 2. It's like first place of going against last, pretty much there. Almost first place versus last. Just way out of it. The big news, of course, I think, Chris, was I mentioned the injuries already after one game.
Mm.
Um, I did mention it. Atlanta with Sean Murphy, their first baseman. I want to say he had a oblique strain after swinging and missing in the seventh inning of the Braves game on Friday afternoon. He'll be out a couple of weeks already. He immediately dropped his bat and grabbed his left side. I kind of feel that pain sometimes. I'm sorry, that's a catcher. Yeah, that's a catcher, Sean Murphy. And also some other injury news, and this one hurts, and it deals with Big B's twins, is Royce Lewis will miss meaningful time again, but for the fifth straight season. I just feel so sorry for this guy. He's on the IL with the right quad injury on opening day. I just felt so bad for him. Again, he missed a lot of the 2020 year and then every other year since. When he's in the game, he's really great. It's kind of like Buxton for the Twins, if you know that story. Just a lot of injuries between, and the Twins need everyone to be there. And there's some other injuries that stood out, but I think those two are big just because. Oh no, Justin Steele of the Cubs Thursday against the Rangers. I think that was in the fifth inning, and he was going after a slow roller down the left field or down the first base side.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he grabbed his knee. Well, it looked like his knee. Like
it was his left hamstring. I think it was a left hamstring.
Everybody's like, hope he's okay. And everybody's like, hope he's okay. It looks like it's more of a hamstring thing than like a torn ankle or knee or something like that.
I was kind of worried about him because I'm like, damn, that's like the lone Cubs starter that's like really, really young and good. I was really, really worried about that. Man, I do want to mention this date in history, and I remember this game very well. This is when Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN used to open the season. So back in, I think, 2008, March 31st, Ryan Zimmerman hit a game-winning home run for the Nationals in Washington to open up their new ballpark back then, in which they still play now. So I still remember that because he was Mr. National, not Bryce Harper, but Ryan Zimmerman, definitely. I remember that. Chris, any big news stand out to you? Anything Ranger related either?
Not Ranger related. Like you said, they are getting their rings today, and they look pretty nice. Go check them out on social media, or watch the game. I'm sure they'll show them on TV too. But nothing really big going on. I think Nathan Lowe, he's working his way back to the team. They kind of showed. I saw a video earlier that he's been working in camp. So
I forget that's one guy that they're missing. It seems like everybody else is there, position player wise. But for the Rangers, we know that they're without their expensive pitchers, starters right now. Jacob deGrom. Do you know his stats?
And they're even saying that deGrom, if he does come back, it'll probably be in middle to late September.
I can see that. Yeah. I can see that.
But don't be surprised if he doesn't come back.
Yeah.
Which is fine. We didn't have him much last year, so I don't think that's going to do much damage anyways.
And it's just That's just him. He's had that issue of not staying healthy. And what do you have?
I think
Like
you could.
four
I wish you
starts
could
last
put him
year?
like as I believe so. Yeah, early in the season. I wish you could put him in as like some kind of intern advisor coach kind of thing because I feel like he has
Well,
a good brain.
yeah, I think they do that in the dugout. Like
Okay.
every starter that doesn't start, like they're in
Right.
the dugout talking to each other or giving
Uh-huh.
advice to the starter that day
Right.
or just watching everyone. Um I don't know if the Rangers do this, but the Padres, I don't know if they still do this, but um they would their starters would go wherever that day starter would go. So like to the bullpen where they're warming up, and
Mm-hmm.
then coming back with him, giving whatever they needed, talk to him about. But they would watch each other. So I think all of them do that. And you mentioned Max Scherzer. Is there any news on him and when he'll be back for the
I
Rangers?
haven't I haven't heard much on that. I'm sure I can probably find something, but I haven't seen it. Have you?
No. I know sometime this year.
Maybe I think last I heard
Late.
All Star.
I hope. Yeah, that's the thing I heard. I think I remember. John Gray will go for you guys on Sunday, by the way, at 1:35 p.m. your time.
He's not bad.
Roan, yeah, Roan Wicks will go for the Cubs. I think I'll be watching some of that. The Angels are at 10 a.m. 10:35, excuse me, against the Orioles when we get there on Sunday. All right, so we did yesterday, and it was all over MLB Network after. But we had a benches clearing issue between the Milwaukee Brewers and the New York Mets, and just one of those things that happened. Um, of course, we remember the time where you can um, slide into second if you're a runner and break up a double play possibility. You know, it's almost like running into
Mm-hmm.
the catcher at home, and all that is, of course, you know,
Great.
outlawed now. Like they call you for interference or intention. You have to slide straight into the bag now. You can't make contact with the, second baseman or shortstop at the bag at second. But yesterday, Rhys Hoskins, who has a history against the New York Mets as a Philadelphia Philly, he went in hard to Jeff McNeil,
Mm-hmm.
the second baseman for the Mets. It was, I think, in the eighth, top of the eighth. It was one out. He was trying to break up that double play so a run could score. But he went in. Hoskins went over the bag and made contact with McNeil's leg. And then after that, Hoskins just laid there. It looked like he really hurt himself, but he didn't. Um, but McNeil kind of stared over him and pointed, and then the umpire called everybody out, or the two outs, I should say. As I'm looking at it right now, yeah, he called everyone out. McNeil standing over him, yelling at him. Hoskins just goes to the dugout, or he's on his way, and then he hears more chirping from McNeil. Then everyone gets together. I think the bullpens even got together. It's kind of a waste, Chris, seeing the bullpens come out for no reason. Seems like a waste
Yeah,
of time. But
it does seem like that.
McNeil and Hoskins keep, yelling at each other, and that was pretty much it. Everybody went back to the dugout. But I wish they would get rid of that, Chris. Where I know everybody has to be a part of it,
Mm-hmm.
but it's kind of a waste having all that. Like everybody has to go back where they were and all
It,
that.
it yeah, it does seem like it's a waste, but at the same time too, if you don't go out there, you kind of are looked as the bad guy because then they're going to see that, oh, you didn't stand up for your teammates or your
Mm-hmm.
teammate. You should be ashamed and all this stuff. But at the same time too, you're like, I don't want to be involved. I don't. if I go out there, I could be fined. I could be, penalized. Who knows?
Um, McNeil kept talking, and then Hoskins finally put up like that crying kind of sign to
Uh,
him. That was kind of funny. Milwaukee would end up winning, and then today, um, by the way, there was a review on that play, and they had to overturn it to say that it was, against the rules. And they got out of the jam, did the Mets. Today, by the way, Hoskins has a home run against Milwaukee, or against the Mets. I thought, maybe they'll throw behind him or throw at him,
mhm.
just because of what happened yesterday. They lead 6-2, by the way, in the bottom of the seventh. Um, that's just 2 games going on so far live right now that we're talking, but just watch for that tomorrow. Maybe there's some more history being made. Either they'll hit them with the pitch or something like that. I did see a meme, or not a meme, but a picture yesterday, a video yesterday, excuse me, of McNeil, the guy sliding at a second baseman way off the line. So it's just funny how like, oh, he's mad about someone doing it to him when he's done it to somebody else before. And it's just funny how many receipts are kept when it comes to, baseball and or whatever in life. It just seems like there's something there. Any topic you want to throw out there, Chris? Like anything you've noticed from the start of the baseball season?
No, I mean, for the most part, from what I've seen watching on MLB TV, the crowds have been really good. Games have been close, unless you're the Colorado Rockies, who are just, throwing everything out there and scoring run after run. But for the most part, games are close. Uh, we had a couple innings going to extras, which is nice. I don't see any delays of they get a pitching clock, and I think there's one instance of you know the time ran out and there's an out, but for the most part, everything seems to be running smoothly.
By the way, I see your Rangers. Yeah, I haven't seen a pitch clock violation yet. I know we had some in the in spring. I remember some for like strikeouts,
Mm-hmm.
and still, it's the veterans trying to remember all that. And but you could tell since it's used in the young guys. Um,
Right.
with the minor leaguers coming up, they're used to that already wherever they are. Jason mentioning that it doesn't help that the Mets took or look terribly already. It just adds to the frustration, and they're bound to have a bad season. Um, they have injuries, not only that to some of their starters, but also um, their lineup is pretty good, but it's just not enough to compete with the Braves and the Phillies this year. It's just not. They do have some pieces, but a lot of them are just hitting. I do see your Rangers. They play Monday
Mm-hmm.
in St. Petersburg against the Tampa Bay Rays, and I'm thinking to myself, wasn't that the um, divisional series last year? Or the wild card round, I believe. No, was it? I can't remember, Chris. Was it divisional series for you guys last year?
I think so.
Yeah, where I think the Rangers won, or they swept them. I want to say that was the days, of course, where the Rays couldn't sell out just because of the time of the day. It was like 1 p.m. Everybody was at work or whatever, and it's already a chore to go to Rays games if you live in the Tampa area. You have to cross like 1 or 2 bridges to get there, and it looked really bad. We mentioned the Oakland crowds. Um, they have tarps where the Rays play as well. The Angels, by the way, speaking of places that don't sell out, they'll be in Miami, playing the Marlins, who are 0-2 and already are kind of soul searching. They've lost some late games to the Pirates. They had a spirited affair Thursday, but yesterday the Pirates won pretty easy. Oh no, I'm sorry, switch them. Thursday was pretty easy. Friday was a closer game against the Pirates for Miami. But I heard Miami, of course, they have that deal with the all you can eat section or whatever. Not beer, but pretty much everything else. It's a pretty good deal, I think, for $52. It comes with the ticket, of course, but all the options they have, that's a really good deal. I think more teams should. They used to do all you can eat sections, but I don't think many of them do it anymore. Just because, hey, they're trying to give as little as much for as much as they can, and that's what you think with these jerseys, Chris. I know I mentioned them before with with them being see through and cheap material, not stitching on the jersey anymore. How they're see through now, but it just seems like the new Fanatic jerseys by Nike, they're so cheap, but they're $40 more than what they were last year. But the quality is down. It just seems like that's a big thing in the country or whatever, but it's hurt baseball now, and I'll never get one of those. I don't know if you're going to go to any games this year, Chris, but
I'm hoping so.
Yeah.
But what about you?
Yeah, I do mention that the Angels, after this road trip, which they'll probably go 1-5, or hopefully 2-4, who knows? I think they're gonna get swept here against the Orioles, but you have Miami that's kind of in shambles, kind of like the Angels are. So maybe they'll get 2 out of 3. Who knows? But then they come home after an off day next Thursday, and they start Friday against Boston. It's weird. I was mentioning to someone, of course, on Halos in the Infield. You can also find me talking about Angels baseball. Yikes! The Angels start off with Boston for 3 games, and then they host Tampa Bay and then Baltimore. It's just weird that they're not starting off with their division. Like, all the division games are pushed later, which I'm okay with. But like right away, we're seeing, not too many divisional games, especially with our teams. It's just weird like that. So I'm hoping to go opening night. I have a consecutive streak of 3 in a row, and hopefully it's going to be 4. I could go every. Yeah, we'll see. I could go every game, but I don't know if I really want to. Saturday is a start. I believe there's fireworks. I can't remember. Sunday, though, we'll see what happens. I hope to get out there. I know they have some weekday specials coming up where, the game is like 1 o'clock or whatever it is on a Wednesday. I'm hoping to go, when they play Tampa and Baltimore. At least you see some playoff opponents at Angel Stadium. You won't see the playoffs, but you'll see some playoff teams coming in there. I think that'd be cool to see them. I make it a point to really watch the Orioles, and already you could tell the Orioles are far above anyone, or above the Angels there. And there's some other series I know that's going to happen. Like the Padres will go up there. The Yankees come kind of early in the season, I want to say. The bad part about this, when the Dodgers come to Anaheim, it's September 3rd and 4th. a Tuesday and Wednesday, but way late in the season. It's weird. Not like May or June or July. I think they go to LA to do the Angels, but they come all the way in September, and maybe the Angels could treat that like it's their playoff games. Playing a team like the Dodgers and having Shohei come back, for the regular season. That is going to be a crazy atmosphere. It's going to be all blue, but it's going to be something. I don't know if we talked about on the last show, but no, we didn't, because it happened after. But Shohei came back as a Dodger during the exhibition Freeway Series, and it was so awkward because he came back and he's not the leadoff hitter; he was the second place hitter in the lineup, and they had a tribute video go off after Mookie Betts got made out, and then Shohei came to the plate, and they play this like minute video, and you know how the game is all about time now with the pitch clock and all that, and the batter being ready. Shohei got in like nothing was going on. Meanwhile, there's a video of him, being honored or whatever. So it was just awkward timing by the Angels, entertainment staff. It was really weird to have that go on. Oh, as we have, I believe this is Greg here, and how are you, Greg?
I'm doing pretty good, James. How are you doing? And Crispy, good to see you again.
Good to see you.
I think you came on.
Pulled off the World Series.
I think you came on last year a few shows, if I'm not mistaken. You are the resident Cardinal fan, I believe, right?
Yeah. I'm the resident long-suffering Cardinals fan. Well, not long-suffering, but it just seems forever since, I know that it's only been about 12 years or so since our last championship, but it just seems
that long.
Time. Maybe
2006, right?
I thought it was like 2009. I can't remember. It was like the David Freese Magic against.
Oh, duh, 2011. Yeah. That's right. So it's funny how my birthday kind of correlates to those championship years you guys had. 2006, the 4-game sweep of Detroit was on my birthday, and then 2011 was that David Freese home run on my birthday. So it's just funny how those big moments of Cardinal history was always, go with cake for me or beer at some point. But how are you this afternoon, wherever you may be?
I'm doing good. Just we've had spring break all week long, and it's been rainy here in Oregon. Now we finally get some beautiful weather like 2 days before school starts back up. So I think that's usually the way it goes.
I think whatever you got, I'm getting here down in San Diego. That's all I could think of. Let's talk about your Cardinals. So they start the first 2 games in LA. They get defeated. Friday or yesterday, I should say, was 6-3 LA. The day before was 7-1 with all the pageantry of opening day. Now, I'm wondering, Greg, about the Cardinals this year, because we know last year they had their worst start in 50 years, 1973. And then they had their worst season, I think it was, since 1995. So 2023 was forgetful. They bring some old Cardinals back, Lance Lynn and Matt Carpenter. And then some other starters. Sonny Gray, of course, will be out first, I think, 15 days. It's kind of interesting the way they put this team together, where they kind of shipped out. Tyler O'Neill went to Boston, but a lot of the young guys are still there. Jordan Walker in right field, some young arms. Jordan Hicks, of course, went to San Francisco. They're putting him as a starter for some reason. How do you see the Cardinals do? And then what did you think about Arenado's comments where, they said they need a leader on the team, and he is, not the oldest guy on the team, but he's one of the veteran guys on the team who makes the most money. And then you have Paul Goldschmidt, of course, who is a free agent, I think, after this year. He's going to ball out. He had an opening day home run. But how do you think the Cardinals will do this year in that Central or the wild card? And then what did you think about Arenado's comments and the state of the Cardinals right now?
I think it's going to be another tough year for Cardinals fans. I think that we didn't really do a whole lot this offseason other than try to get all back together. And I'm all for reunions, but I'm all for reunions, after the fact. I don't think that we need to be bringing back old players. And now we have a pitching staff that isn't exactly filled with youth. So I think that we're going to take a lot of lumps. I don't know if we'll quite be at the bottom of the Central this year. But I definitely see teams like Cincinnati kind of moving towards the top. So, and we might be able to maybe stay ahead of a team like the Pirates or somebody from last. But I think that's going to be a rough year. We have kind of a mix. Losing Tyler O'Neill was a really big blow. I thought that he was a potential all-star coming up. He has pretty good speed out there. He was a good fielder. So losing him this season really hurt, and now he's going to fill in pretty good for the Red Sox. And then losing Jordan Hicks, he was outstanding last year in relief, and he'll probably have a pretty good year this year in San Francisco. I know he's taking the hill tonight, and he's got a lot of good pitches. He's got an excellent curveball, got some zip in his arm. It's just an arm that I wish that we had it either in our rotation or in the bullpen. So I think that the Cardinals spent a lot of money in the last couple of years bringing in Goldschmidt, taking on Arenado, having to move some people around to get Arenado because Jordan Walker was a natural third baseman. So I had to move up to the outfield. So I think that's going to be a tough year. I'm looking forward to some games, but I think that when it comes to the big dogs, like the Braves and the Phillies and the Dodgers, I just don't think that we're anywhere close to that kind of level in the National League. And as far as what Nolan Arenado said, he's Goldschmidt and him are like the two highest paid guys in the clubhouse. Like if they want leadership, those guys should be bringing the leadership. I don't know if he's trying to call out the coaching staff or saying, trying to imply that the manager just isn't strict on the guys or is more of a player's coach or what. I don't know exactly what he means by it, but I think it's kind of a backhanded comment. Implying that there's really no leadership or structure when he could be helping out the cause.
Yeah, that's what I noticed right away when he said that. I think I was watching MLB Network's, 30 teams in 15 days. It kind of narrowed that down now, but it used to be 30 and 30. But that was one alarming thing. I was like, wait, what did you say? Because I remember seeing him out here on the West Coast, yelling at their catcher for giving up a meatball to Matt Kemp in 2016 as a Colorado Rocky. He was always kind of fiery. And Chris, remember I mentioned that Rhys Hoskins incident yesterday? Well, guess what? The Mets threw behind him today. Yeah. And he stood there and looked out toward the pitcher, but nothing else transpired. But it goes back to what I was saying. Maybe the Mets will, take care of a little business today and throw behind them. Guess what? Boom, it just happened. Greg, did you see that incident yesterday in the MLB where Hoskins slid over the bag and kind of clipped McNeil, the second baseman for New York? Did you have any thoughts on that?
I don't really have any thoughts because I missed it and I haven't really caught up to that. But from my understanding, I think that someone thought that it was kind of a cheap play, kind of a unnecessary play. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, with the rules changed nowadays, where hey, you can't slide in like that, and you definitely can't, pile through the catcher anymore at home because of the Buster Posey rule. But yeah, no more of those breakup plays at second. No more of those. Let's get back to the Cardinals real quick. So I know they played today at 6. Yamamoto will get the start for LA, by the way. His first start was an adventure. It only lasted 1 inning, and he gave up, I think, 5 runs. Lance Lynn will go for the Cardinals. Of course, we know him giving up so many home runs against the Dodgers, especially in the postseason last year against Arizona. So, Greg, I asked you this: how do you see the rest of this series going? I think they play Sunday night baseball at 4 p.m. also on Sunday. How do you see the rest of this series going? And then, again, where do you see the Cardinals in the division or in the wild card race?
As far as this series goes for the next 2 games, I do think that we have a pretty good matchup today to maybe be competitive or even get a win. Yamamoto, he's kind of unproven. He didn't last too long in his first outing. He didn't have a great spring training. He doesn't really look like he's in good form quite yet. Lance Lynn, he's always been steady. He does give up the long ball every now and then, but he does have good stuff. He does have a good changeup, a good breaking ball. So I think that Lance Lynn has enough in his pitching arsenal to make this a competitive game. I think that he can get some big outs when necessary. I don't know for sure if the Cardinals bats will wake up yet. We haven't really been lighting the world on fire in the scorebook yet. I think we put up 4 runs in 2 games. So I think that today will be a lot closer. I don't know for sure if we're going to come out on top. The problem with facing a team like the Dodgers is, where does it end? I mean, you have Mookie Betts, and then after that you have Ohtani, and you have Muncy, and you have Freeman, and you basically have an all-star lineup about 7 deep. So it's almost like pitching to an all-star team, every single game when they're healthy. So I do think that Lance Lynn is going to probably get a fair amount of strikeouts today because he does have some good strikeout potential. But I do think that today's our best shot probably to get a win in this series. And as far as the wild card, I think we're just going to be on the outside looking in unless we make some big trades. We just didn't really do anything sensational. We just basically made sure we stayed under the cap, picked up some old players, trying to reminisce about the good old days, brought in some veteran arms that aren't exactly lethal. So I think unless we can pick up if we can pick up a really good pitcher for next to nothing, at the trade deadline, or pick up another big bat or something, I think that we're going to miss out on the playoffs because we just we have Arenado, Goldschmidt, Walker's pretty decent, but losing Tyler O'Neill, his defense and his speed, I think that's going to hurt. Losing Hicks' arm is definitely going to hurt. So I think it's going to be a rough year. I don't think we're going to be absolutely terrible, but I just don't think that we're going to be a playoff contending team.
Yeah, at least you're not the Angels. We'll see what happens with that. No other really news to report other from the games are starting up at the 1 o'clock mark here, 3 o'clock wherever you are, Chris, of course. Phillies and Braves, that should be fun. I'm going to go watch that later, or right now, I should say. All right, I guess we'll get to our, final thoughts of the show. Thank you, Greg, for joining us, and please come back whenever you can. There's so much going on, it seems like, with baseball, on the field, off the field. I'll ask you this: what do you think about this whole Ohtani situation? I know everybody has been talking about it, but I don't think we've really got into it. But what do you think about all this? Like, do you think there were some betting going on games that the news isn't out there. But do you think there was actual games Otani had his translator bet on? I know we were talking about that Dodger lineup and how potent it is. I think Tim Kirchin, the ESPN guy, mentioned the first three batters may be the best collection of, hitters ever when it comes to accolades, right? You have Betts, Otani, Freeman. But beside that, what do you think about this gambling situation? And if he did bet on baseball?
I don't think that Otani bet on baseball. I do know that I've dated some gals before in the past that wouldn't even let me look at their phone, let alone get into their bank account. So I think some of the stories don't add up, and there's some conflicting stories, and you hear one thing one day, and then the story kind of changes. It's like watching a news cycle or something. It's like turning on the news or something. You just don't know what to believe. I don't think that Otani was betting on baseball. I heard that there was bets on international soccer, which you can lose a lot of money betting on that for sure. But I don't think that there was any games baseball wise, unless it was maybe like international baseball, betting on the Mexican League baseball or the Japanese baseball or something like that. I don't think that that's made that way. I mean, time will tell. They're going to do a full investigation. I don't really trust Manfred and his crew to really get to the bottom of it too much, but we'll see what happens. But I think that a lot of bets were made. I have a hard time believing that someone that makes about $500,000 was given $4.5 million in losses to rack up. So there's a lot of it that just doesn't pass the sniff test to me.
That's definitely true. Again, thank you, Gray, for coming on. Any final thoughts, Chris?
Yeah, thanks everyone for watching and tuning in. No shows tomorrow, Easter Sunday. But we'll be back Monday with all of our shows, so stay tuned.
Yeah, I forgot it's Easter. I'm just into baseball and March Madness, so I'm not even thinking about Easter Sunday. Anyway, folks, thank you for watching On Deck here on Coast to Coast Entertainment Network. Be sure to watch all the other shows here we got something for everybody here on the network. So thank you for tuning in, and we'll leave it at that. Go watch some games, I guess. We'll see you next time.